Imagine stepping into a world where every stone, every arch, and every corridor tells a story of peace, devotion, and mystery. Have you ever wondered what secrets lie hidden in the architecture of ancient monasteries? From peaceful cloisters to sacred meditation halls, these structures were more than just buildings. They were reflections of a monk's spiritual journey. So what if I told you that these monasteries are filled with architectural wonders you've probably never heard of? Ready to discover the 7 hidden architectural gems of ancient monasteries? Let's dive in. Cloisters. Imagine walking through an ancient monastery, the air cool and filled with an overwhelming sense of peace. You're stepping into the heart of the monastic life, the cloisters. These serene covered walkways surround a central courtyard, where time seems to slow down. But these aren't just picturesque pathways, they served as the spiritual and social core of the monastery. Cloisters connected every major part of the monastery, from the church and dormitories to the refectories and chapter houses, giving the monks a place to meditate, reflect, and bond in quiet solitude. The design of the cloisters wasn't just about beauty, it was about providing a sanctuary. The arches, the stone carvings, and the lush gardens created an atmosphere of calm where the monks could engage in their prayers, study, and even contemplate the meaning of life. In fact, the cloisters were often where monks would engage in silent walks, meditating on their vows, or simply observing nature as a way to strengthen their spiritual connection. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Some cloisters were designed with intricate symbolism. The pattern of the arches, the placement of windows, and even the types of plants in the gardens weren't random. They were deliberately chosen to represent purity, reflection, and the monastic way of life intended to keep the monks focused on their spiritual mission. A quiet walk around the cloisters wasn't just for solitude, it was also for contemplation of the divine. Cloisters weren't just walkways, they were pathways to enlightenment. The calmness and spirituality of these spaces made them a powerful tool for the monks' daily rituals, ensuring their lives were always anchored in the divine presence. You see, the cloister wasn't just an architectural feature, it was a core element of a monk's life offering peace and purpose. Chapter houses. Step inside a chapter house and you're entering one of the most important rooms in the entire monastery. One that has seen moments of deep contemplation, decision-making, and spiritual governance. Imagine a grand yet simple room, filled with wooden benches arranged in a circle, an air of quiet authority hanging in the atmosphere. This is where monks gathered daily to discuss the very fabric of their community, decisions, discipline, and devotion. The chapter house was not just a meeting room, it was a sacred space for communal governance. This was where the abbot or leader would call the monks to order, recount important teachings, and address the spiritual and organizational matters of the day. But here's the twist, it wasn't just about keeping order. The chapter house was also the place where monks sought spiritual guidance, confession, and resolutions to their personal struggles. It was a space for both discipline and divine reflection. Architecturally, the chapter house was often one of the most intricately designed areas of the monastery. Tall, vaulted ceilings, stained glass windows, and ornate stonework not only created a sense of awe but also emphasized the significance of the discussions and decisions that took place inside. These meetings were about more than just rules. They were about nurturing the spiritual growth of each monk and ensuring the monastery functioned in harmony with its sacred mission. What's even more fascinating is how the chapter house played a role in shaping the moral and ethical codes of the time. The decisions made here weren't just about daily chores, they influenced how the monks interacted with the world outside. In a way, the chapter house became a microcosm of the larger society, embodying the values of unity, humility, and discipline that were central to monastic life. And in a monastery full of deep spiritual devotion, this simple room held the very essence of order and community. Dormitories. When you think of a monk's life, you might imagine peaceful solitude and quiet reflection. But in reality, life in the monastery was deeply communal, especially in the dormitories. These large shared sleeping quarters were the heart of the monks' daily lives and interactions. Picture rows of simple beds, neatly arranged side by side, where monks would sleep, eat, and dream together. There was little privacy, but that was the point. Every monk, no matter their rank or role, lived in harmony with the others, fostering a sense of brotherhood and equality. The design of these dormitories wasn't about comfort or luxury, it was about simplicity and discipline. Each bed was placed close to another, encouraging quiet conversations, reflection, and even whispered prayers before sleep. Imagine the murmurs of monks exchanging wisdom, or the deep silence that filled the room as everyone prepared for the day's spiritual challenges. There was a profound sense of shared purpose within these walls, and the absence of luxury served as a reminder of the vows they had taken. But the dormitories were also places where the monastic lifestyle truly manifested. In a way, they represented the core of what being a monk was all about, living a life of humility, simplicity, and communal service. The beds themselves were often sparse, just a simple straw mattress or a small wooden platform, reflecting the absence of material desires. It wasn't about comfort, it was about devotion. This simplicity was intended to keep the monks focused on their spiritual journey rather than worldly pleasures. These dormitories also played a vital role in the monastic routine. It was in these spaces that monks would rise early to begin their day with prayers, and here they would return at night after long hours of work or contemplation. The absence of distractions made these rooms not just sleeping quarters but sanctuaries for rest and renewal. It was the communal spirit and the shared experience in these simple spaces that helped bond the monks together, reminding them that they were all equal before God. Refectories. In the monastery, mealtime wasn't just about nourishing the body, it was a time to nurture the spirit, build community, and reflect. The refectory, or dining hall, was where monks gathered together, not just to eat, but to connect with one another and with the divine. Picture a large, echoing space with long wooden tables, simple stone walls, and just enough light filtering through narrow windows to give the room a sacred glow. Here, every meal was treated as a sacred ritual, and every bite was an opportunity for reflection. The atmosphere in the refectory was intentionally simple. The monks' vows of humility were reflected in their daily meals, plain, frugal, and often eaten in silence. Imagine the hum of the room, filled with the soft clink of utensils and the occasional rustle of robes, as monks focused not just on the food, but on their inner thoughts, prayers, and the readings they listened to during mealtime. These readings often came from the scriptures or the lives of saints, offering nourishment for the soul while the monks ate. But what made the refectory truly unique wasn't just the food. It was the way in which it served as a focal point for community. Though the monks ate in silence, the refectory was still a place of connection. The ritual of dining together, in the presence of shared faith and discipline, created a bond among the monks that extended beyond words. Even though they were alone in their thoughts, they were never truly alone. The presence of fellow monks reminded them that they were all on the same spiritual journey. Interestingly, the refectory also embodied the concept of moderation. Meals were simple, often consisting of bread, vegetables, and occasionally a bit of fish. It wasn't about indulgence, it was about spiritual balance. The idea was to nourish the body enough to carry out the daily work and prayers, but not to overindulge in worldly pleasures. Eating together in this minimalist space created a rhythm to life, reinforcing the monastery's commitment to simplicity, humility, and divine service. Meals were never just meals, they were a reminder of the spiritual purpose that underpinned every monk's life. Infirmaries. The infirmary was one of the most compassionate yet understated architectural features of any monastery. It wasn't just a room for the sick, it was a sanctuary of healing and care, designed with both the physical and spiritual well-being of the monks in mind. Imagine stepping into a serene space, softly lit by natural light, where the scent of herbs and the quiet hum of monks tending to the ill create a calm atmosphere of comfort. In these rooms, healing wasn't just about medicine, it was about prayer, peace, and spiritual support. In medieval times, infirmaries were often built separately from the main monastic buildings, offering a quiet retreat for monks who were ill or elderly. The design of the space was intended to be as calming as possible. Softly arched ceilings, simple stone walls, and windows that let in just the right amount of light helped create an environment of tranquility. These were places where monks could rest and recover, surrounded by the quiet support of their community. The care provided in the infirmary was unique. Monks who were ill weren't just given physical treatment, they were also attended to spiritually. The monks would often pray over the sick, offer blessings, and read passages from the scriptures to help ease their suffering. The infirmary was a space for both physical healing and spiritual renewal, offering a reminder that even in times of illness the monks were never truly alone, They had the divine presence, as well as the comfort of their brothers, to help them endure. The architectural layout of the infirmary also allowed for close interaction with nature. Many infirmaries were situated near gardens or courtyards where monks could take in fresh air, meditate, and engage in light physical therapy. These spaces weren't just practical, they were designed to nurture the spirit as well as the body, embodying the holistic nature of monastic life. Infirmaries weren't just places of sickness. They were sacred spaces where monks could heal in the care of both the physical and the divine. Scriptoriums. Scriptoriums were the intellectual powerhouses of monasteries, quiet, sacred spaces where monks engaged in the painstaking work of copying texts, preserving knowledge, and contributing to the intellectual life of the time. Imagine stepping into a room filled with the soft rustle of parchment, the quiet scratching of quills, and the faint scent of ink. The scriptorium was a sanctuary of learning, where the written word was treated with reverence and care. These rooms were typically dimly lit, with only small windows to provide natural light. The monks who worked there would spend hours hunched over their desks, transcribing religious texts, historical records, and classical literature. It wasn't just about copying books, it was about preserving culture, history, and faith. The scriptorium was a space of quiet dedication, where the monks' attention to detail and devotion to their craft could be seen in every page they painstakingly transcribed. But the scriptorium wasn't only about copying manuscripts, it was also about creating beautiful, illuminated works of art. The monks would often adorn the texts with intricate illustrations, vibrant colors, and delicate lettering, turning simple books into works of divine artistry. These illuminated manuscripts became some of the most treasured relics of the medieval world, with their stunning designs and reverent approach to the sacred texts they contained. The importance of the scriptorium cannot be overstated. In an age before printing presses, these rooms were where the preservation of knowledge took place. They were the heart of intellectual life in the monastery, ensuring that the sacred and scholarly works of the time were passed down for future generations. The monks didn't just copy texts, they made sure that each manuscript was a faithful reproduction of the original, ensuring its survival through the centuries. The scriptorium wasn't just an architectural feature, it was a symbol of the monastery's commitment to preserving wisdom, faith, and culture for posterity. Padhanagharas. Nestled away from the bustling activity of the monastery, the Padhanaghara is a hidden gem of monastic architecture, unique to Sri Lanka. These quiet meditation halls were specifically designed for deep reflection, providing a sacred space where monks could retreat from the outside world and connect with their inner selves. Picture a serene, elevated structure, its two raised platforms connected by a simple stone bridge, surrounded by nature's tranquility. This isn't just an architectural feature, it's a gateway to spiritual awakening. The Padhanaghara's design is both minimalist and symbolic. Built to be isolated, these meditation halls encouraged monks to immerse themselves fully in their practice. They were strategically placed away from the main monastery, emphasizing the importance of solitude in meditation. The separation from the communal spaces wasn't just about distance, it was about creating an environment where the distractions of daily life could be left behind, allowing the monks to focus entirely on their spiritual journey. The structure itself is both functional and symbolic. The raised platforms represent a step away from the material world, offering a physical elevation that mirrors the spiritual ascent the monks sought in their practice. The stone bridge connecting the two platforms symbolizes the journey from the mundane to the divine, a crossing into a space where deeper meditation and self-reflection can occur. It's not just a building, it's a sacred pathway. In these retreat halls, the monks would engage in intense meditation, often for days or weeks, to reach higher states of mindfulness. The environment of peace, the simplicity of the design, and the isolation of the location were all intended to foster a deeper connection with the divine. It's a space where the monk is alone, yet never truly lonely. The Padhanaghara is a place where both the mind and spirit can flourish, reflecting the profound connection between architecture and the monastic path to enlightenment. And there you have it, the 7 secret architectural wonders of ancient monasteries. These timeless structures truly offer a glimpse into a world of peace and devotion. If you enjoyed this journey through history and design, Don't forget to hit that bell icon so you never miss an update from DwellScape. Make sure to subscribe, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Which architectural feature fascinated you the most? Let's keep the conversation going.